Welcome back to this week's Showdown with your host Bob and co-host tonight Matt, the man Gula. How you doing, Matt?
How's it going?
It's awesome as always to have you here because, like I've always said, without your help and your amazing bot, which just got released a new patch, we couldn't do this as fast as we're able to. And it's helped that you have a lot of the pictures in there now too, so it's amazing. So thank you again, Matt.
Yeah, no worries. It's two birds with one stone. I would have to make those images anyway, so
That's right.
it's all
Now
good.
you just released the newest patch for the Showdown card bot, right?
Oh yeah.
What? Give me some quick highlights on that.
Quick highlights, little redesigned UI, some more info on there if you're curious about how the cards break down in terms of points, accuracy. It's a little more streamlined, works better on some more devices, and then as always, some little tweaks. So yeah, a lot of goodies in there. Hopefully people are digging in and having fun with it.
I don't see how they couldn't be. I mean, it was already amazing. Like you didn't have to do anything. I still would have been amazed. But the fact that you're like making these like improvements just makes everything so much better.
But you got to keep going. It's it's ever evolving. You got to keep pushing.
Absolutely, and I love using it. As people at home know, maybe listening, and Matt knows this really well. I'm about halfway done with my 1996 set using the bot, and it's been really fun doing it. Now I've been just doing that as the option one. I haven't like tried to go deep into like second options or third options on cards. I always could
Yeah.
do something fun.
Yeah, the options, I mean, you can see with the newest update, you can see the accuracy of it. It'll pick what it deems as the most accurate, but I mean, if you want to test around the different, on base and control combos, you can get at it a
Absolutely.
little bit easier.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. People are doing that in line. But the people listening here have come because we need the week 18 this week in
Oh
Showdown.
yeah.
And first up on that list, which I did not see coming until he hits 4 home runs this week, is CJ Cron. Or is it Cron? Cron?
Brown.
Cron. CJ Cron, 9 on base. This card's pretty true outcome in a sense here. But 9 on base, +1, 18 home runs, pretty solid.
Yeah, this is like your typical first baseman. He's got the +1 defense, pretty solid. The 1 through 5 strikeout. I feel like every card in the 2021 set has that
Very true.
huge strikeout. I feel like that's just like a thing now.
Yeah, everyone's just going to have to
But
get used to it.
oh yeah, this is just like your stereotypical, like, slightly above average first baseman.
I love the All-Star Game patch on his jersey. That's pretty sharp.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's
Um,
pretty sweet.
but he hits 4 home runs this week. He had 16 RBIs in the past 7 days. That
Jeez.
is ridiculous.
Yeah,
uh,
that's pretty bonkers.
yeah,
The
that's why
Rockies
he.
needed to.
Well, yeah, and so that's why he gets this week. I mean, he just went absolutely AWOL. He had a 636 on base percentage. It just destroying it this week. I mean, overall the season doing good. He got a 9 on base card here. You got to be happy with that. But this week in particular was pretty ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
Next
that's a
up,
nuts week.
I thought for sure I was going to be looking at the card we saw earlier, but he got traded, so I forgot that Starling Marte is on the Athletics now. So
Yeah, I had to switch because now he's got two images. I had made an image for him before, and now I got to make a different one. But this one looks pretty sweet.
That's well, I love the old one. I thought the Miami colors. I don't always like the black on black card. I actually like the old Florida Marlins, like teal.
Mm.
But I type in Starling Marte today just to grab the card. I'm like, all right, here we go. And boom, this bright green card pops up in front of me. I'm like, oh snaps! Like this is super sharp. And he's a 10 on base, and he's got the multiple positions. It's a really fun card. I wish he was A speed, especially for him having 29 stolen bases. But I get it. But look at this wild 15 through 18 single plus. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, and I mean, a little deep dive into the reason he's got 15. If it's after 2016, the bot uses sprint speed.
Yeah.
Which I've thought about changing a little bit, like maybe like if they're fast, give them a speed, but also if they steal bases, because there's those sneaky guys that aren't actually,
No,
don't have
I
the
prefer
fastest
that.
sprint
I prefer
speed.
the sprint speed. I used to use I think it was called speed in maybe they changed it. Whatever it was in Fangraphs is what I used to use, and it was based
Mm.
on Not only their stolen bases, but their ability to not get caught stealing. I think their ability to tag and their ability to like advance, like from a single to or from first base to third base on like a single. So that to me
Oh,
is
that's great.
yeah. So that to me was like the ultimate. I think it was called Speed, and it was in Fangraphs. You might want to look it up on the side. I don't think Baseball Reference has something exactly like that, but I love that what it did was in Showdown. It's not just stolen bases. It is tagging up from third to home. It is going from first to third on a single. It is your ability not to get into like a certain like double like an out at third or something like that. So it shouldn't be just can they steal second. It should be how fast are they? So in sprint speed is a good measure of that. I did like though the Fangraphs is what I used to use, but I don't mind sprint speed either. I just don't just do stolen bases. That to me is outdated. That was old school.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. This is like a kind of this card's kind of interesting. It's kind of like a Ricky Henderson looking Ichiro without the A speed looking
Yeah,
chart.
it's very
Um,
strange. But he just keeps stealing. He has 29 stolen bases on the season. He had 3 this week. He had 2 homers this week, so he's got a little bit of pop, not a lot, just a little bit. But he's probably going to get on second base, is what you're hoping for, especially at a 15 here. We play. Some people play the single plus as an automatic steal second. That's I think the original rules, or if you're using like cards. But we used to play single plus. Gives you like a +3 to your speed, and you get a chance at a stolen base. Again, we play with manager options, but it just gives you +3 in a nutshell, which I think is really great. All of a sudden, now you're at an 18 speed, at 15 roll, so that's pretty hot.
yeah, I love that.
Next up, I think he's been on the chart before. George Springer. He's continually do well. I know he's got a bunch of leadoff home runs. He had 3 this week with 11 RBIs. Decent week, nothing too crazy here, but he had 9 runs. But just doing well for the season. If you're getting a 9 on base with a 16 home run, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, we saw him a few weeks ago, right? And he only had like maybe 50 at bats or 50 plate appearances, and his card was horrible,
Yeah,
right?
I thought so. I thought he was like a 7. Now,
Yeah.
so only has like 161 at bats on the season, so it's kind of I don't think that's normal, right? Yeah, these
No.
other guys are like 207, almost 300 or more. Yeah, 400 for some players. So that's why he's got the 16. He's only got 14 homers, but 14 homers and 160 at bats is what's getting you this 13 double range and 16 home run range. So he's doing really
Yeah, this
well.
is
He
like
just hasn't played.
this is like Griffey-esque minus the defense.
Yeah.
Because he's sort of a little bit past his defensive prime, so he's
Yeah.
not getting the center
But
field
the
+3,
Blue
that's for
Jays are
sure.
on fire right now. He had 4 runs in yesterday's game by himself. He's doing some stuff, and the Blue Jays need him right now to be on fire. So the Blue Jays are
Oh yeah.
are hot.
Oh
Next
yeah.
up, I believe is Cedric Mullins the rookie, right? I thought he was the
Cedric,
rookie.
I don't think he's a rookie, but he has just started really doing well this year. That's all I know.
Yes. So he has 3 home runs this week, 4 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 7 runs. He's got the 9 on base with the A speed, with a little bit of pop. He's got 12 single plus, which I know everyone listening that's in our groups likes to see how early in a dice roll can I get on second base, and 12 is very early for a 9. So this card is highly draftable.
Oh yeah, this with the 20 speed all around. He had a really good start to the year, and I'm glad and he made the All-Star team. I'm glad he's still doing well.
That's right. He is not. He is
This
not a
chart,
rookie. You're right.
yeah, this chart is. But this year he started. He used to be a switch hitter, I think, and he just started batting just lefty this year.
I love this
Um,
picture too. I love seeing the patches
oh
on
yeah.
jerseys.
Oh
Though
yeah.
I
This
don't
is.
know. I don't know. I don't know if he popped this ball up. He looks like he got underneath it a little bit. I can't tell.
Yeah, this might be a miss. I don't know. But yeah, I love when the ball's in the photo. Those are the best images. I love that.
Yeah. Now I think this card is incredible. It's super draftable. People are going to absolutely love this card. If they're listening to this or watching, they're probably focusing on this kind of. If this guy can finish off with like this type of card, very early draft pick, very great for any team.
Yeah, you'd like to see a little more defense, but
Yeah,
I mean, it,
it depends. You may be able to get somebody else in a certain spot, and I know Honorable mentions this week. Bryce Harper did not make a card this week, though. You had posted it, I think, on Twitter. He's like NL MVP right now. He's absolutely on fire. But he came in 5th this week, and I only do the top 4. So sorry, everybody. That's what I do. Now, I do usually do the least likely player of the week, or the shame of the week. And I do love me some GMan Choi. But this week he went, I think he was 0 for 13 and had 1 run. So not doing too great. The card, though, is interesting. An 8 on base, slow, no defense, but some pop. But only 180? You might be able to punt your way into this kind of card.
Yeah, this is like your classic cheap first baseman. And G-Man always gets on base. Like, he's a just typical Rays kind of player.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, this is like, 4 to 11 walk, not ideal.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And not a lot of extra bases. Like, it's if you want to save some money, get a little bit of pop, a little bit of homer. This is a decent card, I guess.
Yeah, it's decent at best. But I love him as a player, so I think it's fun that he made it this week.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, we go over to the pitchers. Zack Wheeler making another showing. He, even though he let up that 4 earned run spot, he ends up getting 2 wins. He had 16 strikeouts in 16 innings, and he hits the nice tier 2 card here with no walk. So he's a 4 control, 1 through 17, which I think is a great card in general. But he's going to have the 7 IP. I don't think a lot of cards are going to make the 7 IP list. And I think that alone, besides the no walk and no doubles, which is just outrageous to this card. Well, I wish he had more walks, but no doubles. He's pitching great. He had 9 innings his last outing with no earned runs, 7.1 before that. He's going to average probably out to a 7 IP pitcher.
Which is, yeah, like you said, it's kind of crazy now. I feel like this card would have fit well in the 2001 set, but like now maybe there'll be 1 or 2 guys that have
that's
IP7.
Luckily, if that, and I think what's going to be cool is when you're playing a whole set and there's only a few outliers that are getting you those 7 IPs, they really become valuable towards your bullpen, especially a guy I think like this who's a 4 1 through 17 out. I really think that becomes very valuable.
Yeah, this guy, I'm a Mets fan. I watched him absolutely dominate us on Sunday with that 9 innings.
I was going to say
I watched every single out.
Was against the
not
Mets.
Fun. And I had to make a bunch for the Bot's Twitter account. Go check it out if you haven't. But I've had to make a bunch of Phillies cards the last 3 days, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, yeah. Zack Wheeler did good. How's the new Mets players doing for you?
Oh, yikes. Well, Javi Baez had a decent start, and then he the other day had 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. So that,
that's
Javi
Baez.
Yep, we've got the full range of Javi Baez.
I just don't understand what the Mets are doing because, in my opinion, you overpaid for Lindor. I don't know what you wanted in Javi Baez. So, I mean, you have good pitching.
Yeah, but it's not been good recently. Taijuan Walker's been struggling a little bit. It's all sort of crashing within the last week, and now they're, I think, like 2.5 games out. So it's not great.
Not fun. But a pitcher that is doing well is Dylan Cease. Now I know he had a rough start. Then I think he pitched well. Then he had a rough go, and I just picked up in fantasy recently, and he's been doing great. So he's only let up, I think, 3 earned runs in his last 2 starts. He had 21 strikeouts in 11 innings. He is striking out people like crazy. So he's getting the 4 through 11 strikeout range here. No doubles. He's a tier 3 pitcher here with only 5 IP. I feel like I don't want to spend $470 for a player like this, but it is cool to see Dylan get a card because I think he could have a fun season if he keeps this up with the amount of strikeouts he's doing.
Yeah, if he maybe threw 6 innings, I like the no doubles, but 470 for 5 innings, I can't do it.
I'm with you. I don't want to draft that kind of player, but I want some Dylan Cease to be good.
Oh yeah, the White Sox have a crazy
good.
rotation.
Yeah, they're a fun team. We were talking about getting those South Side jerseys because they're just so hot and
oh yeah,
like they all just look like straight gangsters and it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe I'll, if the other guys are listening and they're getting their cards ready for the season, they find some South Side jerseys for all the White Sox players would be good.
Mm.
Next up, a guy that's been on our usually terrible list, Blake Snell, making it to the top 3 pitcher of the week. Only let up 1 earned run in 12 innings and had 19 Ks and picks up 2 wins. A little bit of a bounce back, but again, now he got himself up to a tier 4 card and 5 IP. Pretty rough. This is a pretty standard card for Showdown. Back in 2000, this card would be worth like 330 points, so about right here for the 2001. Again, I'm not as versed in 2001, but 5 IP, I mean, you don't want him probably, but maybe he can finish the season strong. He was having such a rough middle of the season, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's good to see him doing well. And this card, yeah, this is like your cookie cutter card. I like the 2 walks, but that's pretty much about it. It's just
Yeah,
very
I just
average.
really want to stay away from 5 IPs if I unless I'm punting, and a 3 at 5 IP, I don't know. I just
Well,
like
it's going to be tough to avoid them. I mean,
I
odds are
know.
you're probably going to have it. I don't even think, depending on how big your league is, I don't even think you'll be able to, I don't
I
know,
know.
fill your roster without a 5
I know,
IP.
and that's what makes me nervous when I did this with the 2020 draft, and now as I'm doing these 2021 cards, I'm seeing it and going, we're gonna have to stack the bullpens. Like you're gonna have a lot of stretching of these arms, and it just makes me really nervous. Like they
Well,
don't
it
go
weirdly
long
lines
anymore.
up with, yeah, it weirdly lines up with actual baseball.
Well, they just
Well,
don't go.
hopefully it doesn't turn into that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just and that's what's cool about Zack Wheeler. Like people don't pitch 9 inning games anymore or 7 inning
No,
games on the regular, and he's doing it. So I'm like, heck yeah.
yeah. It's
Next
awesome
up,
to see, just not against the Mets. That's
correct.
that's the good. Yeah.
Next up, Max Fried, another 5 IP, but this guy gets a tier 3. He's a 5 control, 1 through 15 out. Very standard looking card. He had 12 strikeouts and 12 innings this week, had 1 earned run, 2 wins, did really good for the Braves. Another shout out to the patch on the jersey picture. But yeah, great looking card. Again, I don't want to go for the 5 IP. I think the coolest thing about this card, look at that huge ground ball range. So if you could pitch
Oh
around
yeah.
something like that, now that's interesting. Now, 7 through 19 single, not as fun, but it's interesting. I just hope some cards can get above the 5 IP. I just gonna make my bullpen so rough.
Yeah, I go back and forth on these like high control, but have a huge single range and a double on the chart pitchers, especially
Mm-hmm.
in the '01 set or the 2000 set. Like, I feel like it just ends up biting you in the butt every time.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, that ground ball range, pretty nice. But again, 5 innings pitched.
Yeah.
It's just tough.
I think the moral of the 2021 season is going to be, get your bullpen ready because I don't know what
Yes.
you're going to have. And speaking of bullpen, I did throw in the worst of the week. I made sure it was a reliever just because this week, or we need more relievers in our like Showdown weekly this week in Showdown. Now this guy actually has a great card, but this week he was rough. So he had let up 7 earned runs, and actually he let up more than that. He had 9 earned runs in I think 2 innings or so, and had like a 40 area for the week. Only had 1 strikeout, 7 walks. He had a loss in there. He just got absolutely crushed. But for the season, this is interesting. So he's got a 5.1 ERA for the season, and he's got a 1.3 WHIP. But he gets the 6 control card with the 1 through 15 out, the tier 2 with no doubles. So very interesting card here.
Yeah.
I
This
assume it's
one, yeah. So basically, what happens with this? So there's a weighting towards the on, like basically the whip, and
yep,
then he also has a ridiculously good slugging percentage against.
yep,
So if the higher the control, the lower slugging you'll have because you'll have less, advantages for the hitter. So he has a 197 slugging against. So it'll pull him towards a 6, and it actually, this version of the card, this is where you may want to this is actually a good example of where you may want to change the stats version.
mm-hmm.
Um, this one, it's kind of funky because he gets actually an underrated on base percentage against, aka whip. So he actually has, in Showdown, he has an estimated 0.30, and in real life it's 0.32. So he gets like, you know, 0.2 better.
Hmm.
So this is like overrated for the season he's having, but like, I mean, if you're Paul Fry, you take this card. Not that you really care about your Showdown card,
Yeah.
um, but I mean, this is just like a weird card with a big walk. It's extremely strange. But again, he doesn't let up doubles. He's let up one double and 0 home runs on the year, but he has a 5 ERA.
Yeah, that's what's so weird. It's a weird card, and it's kind of cool to see. So yeah, like you said, you're Paul Fry. You're like, yeah, give me that big range, or that big card for the season. So people might be like, oh, Paul Fry had a great year. He might just be getting hurt, or not hurt, like physically hurt, but like he's just getting unlucky. Is basically what's happening. So you're seeing this ERA reflect it, but the player itself might be good, and this is where. Where people like Moneyball people come in. Where are those guys that I'm looking for? Don't
Yeah,
just
they're
look.
not letting up homers.
Yep.
Yeah, he's walking a lot of people, but he's letting up singles and walks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not that deadly.
No, yeah, it's an interesting card. So I'm glad that got up on This Week in Showdown. We actually, and I had you here to talk about it, which makes it even better, as always. So I think that's fantastic as well.
Oh yeah.
So thank you everyone for listening. Thank you again, Matt, for being here, and hopefully we'll see you next week. You're all moved in, right?
Oh yeah. I'm moved in. I'll be a regular. I will see you all next week.
See ya.